Imagine picking up a raw egg straight from the refrigerator. The egg white is perfectly clear, liquid, and completely transparent. Now imagine dropping that egg into a hot, sizzling pan. Within seconds, that crystalline transparency vanishes completely. The egg white turns opaque, dense, and irreversibly hardened. No matter what you do afterward, you cannot uncook that egg. What you just visualized is not a basic cooking lesson. This is exactly, and I mean precisely, what is happening inside your eyes right now. If every morning the world seems a little more cloudy and blurred, like someone smeared thick petroleum jelly over your glasses, I have urgent news that could change your life. This is not just normal aging. Your eyes are literally being chemically cooked from the inside out. You have been told that cataracts are inevitable and uncontrollable, like grey hair or deep wrinkles, just the price you pay for growing older. You have been told the only real solution is to wait for the cataract to ripen, then undergo invasive surgery where a scalpel cuts your delicate eye, removes the natural lens, and replaces it with an artificial one. But what if I told you, with 20 years of medical experience behind me, that this progressive white fog does not fall from the sky randomly? What if I told you that you yourself, unknowingly and without any fault, are throwing fuel onto that fire every single time you sit down for breakfast? There are 3 seemingly innocent white ingredients you probably have in your kitchen right now, acting like a chemical flamethrower aimed directly at your delicate retinas. They are silent, invisible thieves that progressively crystallize and caramelize your eye fluids day after day. But here is the good news. If you extinguish this metabolic fire, the damage stops progressing. I am not promising a complete overnight reversal. I am promising stabilization based on solid, proven science. Today, we are going to name and expose each specific culprit one by one. I am Dr. Joseph, ophthalmologist and specialist in regenerative and functional medicine with over 20 years of practice, and I have dedicated my entire career to helping thousands of patients just like you take back full control of their visual health without depending exclusively on expensive pharmaceuticals or unnecessary surgery. If you are new to this channel, this is exactly the place where we refuse to surrender to decline. Stay with me through every word of what follows, because what you are about to discover will fundamentally shift how you think about protecting the most irreplaceable sense you have. Now, before we reveal the 3 culprits, I need you to understand something absolutely fascinating about how your own body works. Your crystalline lens, that perfect biological lens sitting just behind your pupil, was completely flexible, transparent, and flawlessly organized when you were young. It is made of 65% water and 35% specialized proteins, arranged so precisely that light passes through without deviating a single millimeter. But this microscopic lens has one fatal weakness. It has no direct blood vessels to nourish it. It feeds exclusively from the surrounding eye fluids. And this is exactly where the silent danger enters. There is a biochemical process called glycation. Memorize that word, glycation. In practical culinary terms, you know this process intimately. It is exactly what happens when you put sugar in a hot pan. It melts, browns, turns sticky, and hardens into brittle caramel. Now, when you have excess glucose circulating in your blood, whether from sweets, white bread, or any refined carbohydrate, that glucose travels through your bloodstream directly into the fluid surrounding your lens. And there, it sticks to the delicate proteins like chewing gum on the sole of a shoe. This forced chemical union creates what doctors call advanced glycation end products, abbreviated AGE. That abbreviation is a cruel irony because age literally means to grow old. These toxic compounds literally age and oxidize your eye from the inside out at the molecular level. When the structural proteins of the lens become glycated, they lose their perfect molecular order, begin clumping into irregular masses, become rigid and opaque, and block light. And that progressive, irreversible opacity, my friends, is precisely what an ophthalmologist clinically calls a cataract. Before we go any further, If this content is opening your eyes to truths that most rushed 15-minute consultations never cover, this is the exact moment to click subscribe and hit that notification bell. Because every single week on this channel, Dr. Joseph breaks down the science behind protecting your vision, your metabolism, and your long-term independence. With no miracle products, no empty promises, just real medical knowledge translated into practical daily action. The people who take control of their health are the ones who stay informed. Do not let the algorithm decide when you receive information that could protect your vision for the next 30 years. Subscribe right now, then come right back, because the 3 culprits we are about to expose may already be sitting in your kitchen this morning. The first enemy is white refined sugar. Those innocent-looking white crystals contain 0 nutrients, 0 fiber, 0 biological benefit of any kind. When consumed, sugar propels directly into your bloodstream at high speed, triggering a glycemic spike. Your exhausted pancreas frantically pumps insulin to manage the chaos. And while that excess sugar circulates freely before insulin can control it, it floods the most vulnerable tissues in the entire body: your kidneys, your peripheral nerves, and your precious eyes. Refined sugar also creates massive oxidative stress at the cellular level. Think of oxidative stress like destructive rust attacking metal. The sugar literally steals vital electrons from the delicate cells of your lens, leaving them chemically unstable and damaged. The first and most powerful step toward protecting your vision is radical, revolutionary, and completely free. Eliminate added sugar entirely. Your palate will fully reset in 10 to 14 days of complete abstinence, and your vulnerable eyes will silently thank you for the rest of your life. The second deadly ingredient is the perfect imposter: refined starch in all its forms. White bread, white pasta, instant white rice, flour tortillas, frozen pizza crusts, bagels, crackers, and pastries. The moment white bread touches your tongue, an enzyme called salivary amylase immediately begins breaking its chemical chains. By the time you swallow, it is already biochemically almost indistinguishable from pure granulated sugar. White bread has a glycemic index of 73. Pure table sugar scores 65. Let that sink in. White bread raises blood sugar faster than sugar itself. But refined flour also causes intestinal inflammation and increases blood viscosity. The eye depends entirely on the thinnest, most microscopic capillaries in the entire human body. The tiny vessels feeding your retina and optic nerve are literally finer than a human hair. If your blood is thick, sluggish, and loaded with glucose from chronic excess of white bread and refined pasta, that dense blood simply does not circulate properly through those microscopic capillaries. Oxygen stops reaching the starved cells. And when vital oxygen does not arrive consistently, lens and retinal cells slowly suffocate and permanently die one by one. Replace refined flour with complex whole carbohydrates, baked sweet potatoes, quinoa, real brown rice, black beans, and lentils. These foods contain abundant fiber, which is the metabolic brake that prevents sugar from flooding your vulnerable eyes. The third and final white, or rather transparent golden, ingredient you must urgently eliminate is industrially processed seed and vegetable oils. Soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, and refined sunflower oil, found on every supermarket shelf at unbelievably low prices. These oils are chemically unstable at the molecular level. They oxidize the instant they contact heat from your pan. And they are loaded with pro-inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids in completely unnatural proportions. Our Paleolithic ancestors consumed an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of roughly 1 to 1. Today, thanks entirely to these omnipresent cheap vegetable oils, the average person consumes a ratio of 20 or even 30 to 1, completely favoring chronic systemic inflammation. The outer membranes of every single cell in your body, including every delicate cell in your eyes, are structurally built with fat. If you chronically consume rancid, industrialized, oxidized vegetable oils, your cells are literally constructed with chemically unstable, defective building blocks. Membranes become rigid, brittle, impermeable, and chronically inflamed. A cataract is not just passive accumulation of damaged proteins. It is an active failure in the integrity of the lens cell membrane. Cook instead with ancestral fats your great-grandparents used without triggering the epidemics of blindness and diabetes we see today. Virgin coconut oil for high heat, real grass-fed butter, ghee for sautéing, cold-pressed avocado oil, and genuine extra virgin olive oil for salads and gentle low-heat cooking. These ancestral fats protect cellular membranes. The others systematically destroy them. We have unmasked the three apocalyptic visual enemies. Refined sugar, the crystallizing agent. White flour, the viscous metabolic glue. Industrial vegetable oils, the inflammatory accelerant. Eliminating these three ingredients stops the chemical attack, interrupts the oxidative bombardment, and extinguishes the metabolic fire cooking your lenses. Every cell in your eyes renews itself on a continuous cycle. You decide with which building materials your regenerated eyes will be constructed. You have the power to stop this oxidative decay. Darkness is optional. Clear sight is your birthright. Share this video with someone over 55 who deserves to know they have real, proven options beyond waiting for invasive surgery. You could literally preserve a loved one's vision simply by pressing the share button right now.